Shane Gillis got fired from Saturday Night Live before he ever appeared on the show. That alone should have been the end of his career. The SNL call is supposed to be the beginning, the moment where a comic steps into the mainstream, joins the cast, finds their audience, becomes a name people recognize on Monday morning. But for Shane, the call didn't open a door. It slammed one shut.
Lauren calls, says, hey, we want to use you on the show. We're going to announce it tomorrow. He was like, do you have anything you want us to check out? But I was like, I also have a podcast. And they're like, yeah, what's that? And I was like, I don't know. I say like gay and retard a lot. And they were like, oh, that's fine. Don't worry about it. So I was like, all right, we'll see. And so the day they announced it, it was cool. It was very cool. You hear from everybody you've ever grown up with. They're all like, holy shit, what just like, I can't believe you're on this. And then, so that lasted for about like 3 hours before an article came out. That was like, here's what this guy says. There's a clip of me saying some, unsavory stuff.
Yeah.
But
talking shit.
It was the one podcast we ever filmed. That's the one they used.
The thing is, you can't understand how wild that moment was unless you know where Shane came from. He grew up in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Blue collar, sports heavy, small town. He wasn't raised in a place where kids talked about becoming comedians. He played football. He coached football. He worked regular jobs. He bounced around colleges and couldn't decide what to do with his life. There was no roadmap, no family legacy in entertainment, no theater programs grooming him for a future at 30 Rock.
I'm from Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania.
That's just up the street.
Yeah, it's close. And I went to middle class suburb, grew up Irish Catholic family.
Your parents together at the time?
Yeah.
Still together?
They're still together.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and went to Catholic school after that. Went to college.
You have brothers, sisters?
I have 2 older sisters.
2 older sisters.
Yeah.
All right. And where'd you go to college?
I went to a bunch. I went to a bunch to get a bachelor's degree in history. It was tough.
He didn't stumble into comedy. He built toward it slowly, almost accidentally. Open mics, bar shows, long drives, odd gigs. Stand-up became the thing he kept coming back to, the one thing that felt like it clicked. And when he started to get good, actually good, he became one of the comics people whispered about on the East Coast. A guy who could crush a room, who had a heavy presence and a disarming voice, who made people laugh even when they didn't want to. So when he got the SNL call in 2019, it felt like the payoff. He was announced as part of the new cast. His name was on every entertainment site. His family was proud. His friends were thrilled. And then, everything unraveled almost instantly. Clips surfaced. Old podcast audio from years earlier. Slurs, rough jokes, racial bits that were meant for a small podcast audience, but suddenly became national news.
Damn, Chinatown's fucking nuts.
It's crazy, dude.
It is full fucking China. Dude, it's fucking Chinese down there.
I wonder how that started. They just built one fucked up looking building and people were like, all right, no one said anything.
Let the fucking chinks live there, huh?
I hate China. I hate the food at Chinatown. Sucks.
I like
Chinese food's a very dishonest cuisine.
I don't even want to think about it.
They invented a fucking chemical to put in their food to make it delicious, dude.
It is.
They made MSG.
We got in there and we sat down and baby girl was like, I'm so excited for noodles. And I was like, yo, chill. She was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
She said neuters?
Yeah. And there's a fucking, and it's full fucking Chinese in there. It's like, and it's such
isn't that kind of like nice though? Isn't that being like when people go into like a Mexican restaurant, like I'll have 2 tacos? Like, I'll have a bowl of spicy neuters.
But we had in the translation between you and the waiter.
Yeah.
It's just such a fucking hassle. It's like, I'm pointing at it. Like, this is the fucking neuter.
Well, that's why I put number for like 57.
Yeah, this one, even with the fucking shit. I was pointing, I was like, that sauce. That. She's like, yes. It's like, yeah, that one. She's like, yeah. She's like, a medium or a spicy? Yeah. She's like, medium. She's like, spicy? Like, no, medium. No medium, spicy.
The backlash hit immediately. Think pieces, outrage, headlines, reporters asking why SNL would hire someone like him. And within days, SNL fired him. Not after a scandal, not after a bad sketch, before he even got to say one line on camera. Most people in that situation would have disappeared. They would have issued long apologies, stepped away from the public eye, waited for the news cycle to move on. But Shane didn't vanish. He didn't hide. He didn't pretend it didn't hurt. He just kept going because he had something most canceled comics don't have: infrastructure he'd already built. Matt and Shane's secret podcast wasn't huge, but it was real. It started in 2015, long before SNL ever came calling. Shane and Matt McCusker weren't trying to be the biggest show in the world. They were just being themselves, two Philly area guys talking about whatever they found funny. No filters, no executives taking notes, no studio telling them to soften the edges. It was unpolished, sometimes chaotic, but undeniably honest. And when Shane got fired, that honesty became its own gravitational force. The audience didn't shrink, it grew. People who distrusted mainstream outrage culture gravitated toward Shane, not because he planned it that way, but because his situation became a symbol to them. Comedy fans who felt like things had gotten too sanitized suddenly felt protective of him. And yet, none of this would have mattered if Shane wasn't actually funny.
Donald Trump wants to stage a UFC fight on the White House lawn. The last time he staged a fight in D.C., Mike Pence almost died. All right. No, you don't have to do that. It was fine. I didn't write it. Actually, there was supposed to be an Epstein joke here, but as it got deleted. Must have probably deleted itself, right? Probably never existed, actually. Let's move on as a country and ignore that.
You can build an audience off controversy, but you can't sustain one without talent. Shane kept doing stand-up, but he also kept getting better at it. His act wasn't based on shock value. It was structured, character-driven, full of voices and impressions and little corners of storytelling that only work if you know how to craft them. Comedy people saw it. They respected it. He wasn't leaning on the controversy. He was outgrowing it. Meanwhile, Matt continued to be the steadying force. Matt isn't loud. He's the guy who listens, reacts, and balances Shane's energy. Matt's one-liners sometimes makes me laugh the most. Their dynamic became the backbone of the podcast. While Shane became the guy the industry didn't know how to handle, Matt became the quiet architect who made sure the show stayed consistent. Together, they created something that felt less like a podcast and more like a clubhouse for people who like jokes more than arguments. And then came the dogs. People who weren't delicate about comedy. People who valued intent over offense. People who understood that jokes sometimes cross lines, and that's part of the risk. Being a dog meant you didn't need a content warning. You didn't need a thesis statement before a punchline. You just wanted to laugh, and you trusted the person holding the microphone. Here's the thing. A lot of comics who get canceled respond by becoming timid. They over-explain. They apologize in advance. They turn into a softer version of themselves because they're afraid of losing whatever's left. Shane didn't do that. He didn't act scared. He didn't become reckless either. He just stayed himself. He told the joke and moved on. He worked harder. He wrote better. And people noticed. And then, outside of stand-up and podcasts, Shane and John McKeever created something special. Gilly and Keeves. Sketches that looked like the SNL universe he never got to enter, except wilder, sharper, and more willing to take risks. They went viral. Some of the funniest material on the internet came out of two guys with a camera and no supervision. It was the alternative career a lot of comics dream about, but never attempt. Meanwhile, his touring career exploded. He sold out clubs, then he sold out theaters, then he started selling out theaters in multiple cities in the same week. Comedians spend decades trying to build the kind of loyal, durable audience Shane built in just a few years. The difference was, his audience didn't show up because he was safe. They showed up because he wasn't. By 2022, Netflix came calling. Not a tiny special, a real one. Shane Gillis Live in Austin dropped in 2023. It worked. It wasn't just a hit with his fans. Critics liked it. Regular viewers liked it. It wasn't framed as the canceled comic speaks out. It was framed as a comic delivering a strong hour. And that mattered. It meant he wasn't being forgiven. He was being recognized. Then, something even stranger happened. In 2024, Saturday Night Live, the same show that fired him, invited him back to host, not as a redemption tour, not as a plea for acceptance, as a host, as someone the mainstream now wanted on their stage. Shane walked back into the building that had kicked him out, delivered his monologue, acknowledged the weirdness of it all, and just did the job. He showed up. He was funny. He committed to the sketches. And the episode was a success. By then, Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast wasn't just a show. It was one of the biggest comedy podcasts in the world. It charted constantly. It pulled numbers that rivaled massive corporate-backed shows. It remained exactly what it had always been. Two guys talking. No polish, no fancy sets, no rebranding. And yet, it had become a cultural anchor for a specific kind of comedy fan. Shane didn't become safer after the success. He didn't sanitize the edges. He didn't reinvent himself to fit the mainstream. He just stayed Shane. The dogs didn't leave him behind. The industry didn't freeze him out. Somehow, he ended up with both worlds. He kept saying yes to things he believed in and no to things he didn't. And then came a moment that said more about who Shane is than any interview ever could. Shane said he was invited to perform at the massive Riyadh Comedy Festival. Huge global names were saying yes. The money was serious. The exposure was huge. But Shane didn't go. He'd been vocal about Saudi Arabia long before that. And when the terms didn't match what he believed in, he turned it down. He walked away. Not as a political statement, not as a marketing move, but because it didn't line up with who he was. It wasn't about money. It was about integrity.
Yeah, it was. It's tight. They just went to the desert and just fucking.
They were asking me to go to the Middle East soon.
What? What? Where? Why?
Saudi Arabia and UAE or Dubai.
Dubai.
I think I'm gonna pass.
Yeah. For the troops? Is it for the troops?
Not for the troops. It's for the Saudis.
For the Saudi princes?
Yeah, and everyone's like, yeah, you should do it. Everyone's doing it. It's like, for Saudis?
Yeah.
Weren't those the 9/11 guys?
So I thought.
What makes his comeback so surprising is how little it resembles a comeback. He didn't apologize his way back in. He didn't transform into a softer version of himself. He didn't win people over with a PR strategy. He outlasted the outrage. He kept performing. He kept growing. He kept working with the same friends he started with. Phil kept showing up in the stories. Matt stayed the voice of calm logic. The podcast stayed messy and funny. And the career that was supposed to die in 2019 ended up becoming one of the strongest in modern stand-up. Shane Gillis didn't beat cancellation. He just refused to let it decide what his story was going to be. And now he stands not as a cautionary tale, but as proof that talent, consistency, and a little stubbornness can outlast almost anything. The thing that was supposed to ruin him ended up revealing who he actually was. Sometimes the comeback is stronger because no one expected one at all.